Congressman Ted Lieu, a Liberal Democrat from California whose star is on the rise. He was elected in 2014, but the Trump era has raised his profile.
We no longer just have smoke. We have a raging 10-alarm fire at the White House.
And the key to his success is one of his favourite pastimes, trolling Donald Trump on Twitter. Like, dear @RealDonaldTrump, you know who repeatedly criticised the press in a bigly way? Richard Nixon. Just saying. Or hashtag Flashback Friday to Trump's famous inauguration photos. Shameful, moronic, evil. Lieu's tweets have grabbed attention and grown his Twitter following to nearly 400,000. That's more followers than me. F you, Internet. F you. I met up with Representative Lieu in Washington, D.C. to discuss Trump, tweeting, and the West Los Angeles neighborhoods he represents, including Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, and Bel Air.
So I hear your district has a major immigration problem. I hear that there's a lot of people from West Philadelphia, born and raised, moving there.
That may be the case. We'll look into it.
One of your, I would say, passions is you like to stir shit up with Donald Trump on Twitter.
I just like to tell the truth, and when the president lies, it makes me angry.
What was your favorite tweet that you've ever sent to Trump?
Sometimes I try to use humor. He recently said he's going to end subsidies to Obamacare, and he said he wants Dems to call him. And I tweeted that actually the people that are going to call him are the Americans who have cancer, diabetes, and heart conditions that are being hurt by his executive order.
So you do use a lot of comedy.
I try to. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Is there any tweet that you have sent Donald Trump that you regret?
Yes. You know, there was a tweet where I called him evil. And, you know, I probably should have been more clear.
There's so many other words you can use for him, like racist or bigoted or something. Evil seems like such a fluffy term.
Right. I mean, I don't know, you know, what's in his heart.
Oh,
I can't
it's
really...
mostly cheese. I look at Trump all the time and I sometimes think, maybe I'm giving him too hard a time. Is there anything that he's doing good?
You know, I didn't set out to resist our president.
No, you're not a woman in a hotel room.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Shortly after the elections, I made a public statement saying one of the great things about America is our peaceful transfer of power. Donald Trump won the Electoral College. We should give him a chance to govern. A couple months later, I realized I was wrong.
Right.
And it wasn't because we disagreed on policy issues, but it was because he was systematically attacking the institutions of our democracy. He was going after the free press, the First Amendment. He was going after the judiciary, and the Washington Post has now reported that he has lied more than 400 times in his first 100 days.
And that's just in his public life.
That's right.
Can you imagine the things he's telling Melania?
I'm kidding. Trump never talks to Melania. But beyond Twitter feuds, Representative Lieu has some signature legislation. Most importantly, trying to keep the world from being blown up.
You were trying to pass a bill in Congress so that Donald Trump can't just hit a button to set a nuclear bomb off.
Let me tell you how easy it is to launch nuclear weapons in America. It's two people.
Right.
It's the president and his Secretary of Defense, and under the law, the Secretary of Defense can't object to the president's order. There is no way that the framers of the Constitution would have allowed that. Let one person destroy the world in less than an hour, because that would be war. The Constitution is very clear. Only Congress has the power to declare war, and there are exactly 0 good military options against North Korea.
0 options. Well, that's only one less option than Trump believes, so these guys aren't really that far apart. And Representative Lieu only thinks he knows more than Trump because he does. Ted served 4 years in the Air Force, and today he's a colonel in the reserves.
Now, you're a vet.
Yes.
How do you feel about the players kneeling during the national anthem?
I stand for the national anthem because I love a country that gives people the freedom to kneel during the national anthem. And when I served in the military, we all had to take an oath before we could go on active duty, and that oath was to the Constitution. It wasn't to the flag, it wasn't to the president, it was to the Constitution, and in the Constitution gives you the right to freedom of speech. That is one of the things that makes America great.
All right, so the congressman understands the Constitution, but he represents a district filled with the Hollywood elite. So how well does he know his own constituents?
How well do you know your district? This is a game called Kardashian or Jenner, right? Khloe,
Kardashian.
Caitlyn,
Not Kardashian.
Scott Disick.
Kardashian.
Trick question. His name's Scott Disick. Do you think you could tweet out that Donald Trump is a bigger dick than Scott Disick?
I probably won't tweet that exact language.
I'm telling you, you'll get a few younger people involved, and then Scott Disick will be like, what? What did I do?
Thank you, Congressman. And unlike the current resident in the White House, Ted Lieu is a politician who keeps his word. This morning he tweeted, "I prefer Scott Disick to Trump because he also knows nothing about government policy but has the decency not to be president." Well played, sir. Well played.